Good evening, all. Hope you're all doing okay. My name's Alan Crooks, White Dragon Miniatures, so it's nice of you to pop by and join me. Yeah, so got a little bit to play around with tonight. Got the first castings of Mastiff kit, which is very exciting to have and see and play with. So that's on the workbench. Might end up doing a little bit of painting again today. But overall, yeah, it's been a bit of a busy week. Last week was a bit of a write-off. I was a bit gutted about that. Basically, I was working down at the unit, and my partner was coming to pick me up, but the car wouldn't start. So I was trapped down the unit for a bit and ended up having, which was a bit of high-class entertainment. So I ended up getting home a bit later than planned, and to cancel that one, unfortunately. But overall, hopefully this one should be a bit of a make-up for it, because, well, got something nice and new to show off, which is pretty cool. So I've got a couple of cameras to work with. Camera 1, which confusingly enough on my system's known as camera 2, and then camera 2, which if you've got any questions, just type away. I'll be more than happy to have a chat and answer any questions that you've got. Get down to it. Okay, so let's pull up the workbench. Okay, so yeah, probably what you're seeing right in front of you here is the top-down view of the Mastiff. So this is the first cast that came in, the proof of concept. Last time you saw one of the prototype 3D print, essentially like one of these. Nice yellow resin that used to print, not very well cleaned up. Whereas now we have the actual resin cast, so that this is exactly what you would end up purchasing. Yeah, let's have a little look. It's like the Foxhound, hollowed out to save on the shipping weight. One of the only reasons why I did it. Basically means that well, can save you some money getting them shipped over. All the shipping's worked out at weight, so it just makes sense to try and reduce that as much as I possibly can. So instead of shipping out a solid lump of resin, it's hollowed out quite nicely, but the join is made to follow a split line, so actually fits together really nice. And so on the back end here as well, you'll see that where the back chassis angles are also again together. Just aids the kind of hiding the split. Super happy with that. Head of it goes on as well. So those three parts, obviously make up a I'm going to be building this tonight. I've got all the other parts here as well. Cover. a little sneak peek with it as well. Yes, we will be doing a remote weapon system for this as well. That's in works at the minute. There she is. Face the old 2 HMG. Yeah, some interesting challenges on this kit with the exhaust system, and it's again always trying to work out how best to produce, you know, something kit form, and sometimes that means that you have to scale back some details, or you have to create interesting ways of kind of mounting it. So obviously in real life these are fitted by kind of very thin small fittings, whereas on this it actually mounts up above, and these little clip in above the areas where the bar armor sits onto, so it's on quite nice and out of the way. Super happy with how all the kit goes together. I think I will have to do some instructions for this though, because there's a couple of things that you might get caught out by. One of the major ones, well in fact it's almost the only other one, the wind mirrors are quite obvious that they go on the outside, but it's basically the cameras that attach to the piece. You can't attach them before you put the bar armor on because they don't go through, so basically they have to be done after. Once that's all done and attached, got it upside down there, that would normally help. The cameras can then be fitted in as well, so just to give that effect, because obviously on the actual vehicle the cameras do protrude beyond the bar armor, so try. Yeah, so super happy of how this has come out. The casting quality is absolutely outstanding. Minimal cleanup, you know, just little light scrape of some mold lines and some little tags off them from where the inlets were for the resin. Spot on. So things like the mirrors, they just attach on to the actual bar armor and will get glued in place. So obviously outside of the bar armor. You do get the etched brass with it. They obviously come laid flat, but what I have done is there are actually some half etched parts on the bends to assist in getting the nice straight edges, which is, well, going to be pretty darn useful for anyone who's not worked with etched brass before. Can be interesting, shall we say, but this is done just to aid in getting a good solid straight line across. So yes, all of that. What we'll do, we'll get some elements of this built. We've obviously got the wheels. The wheels are actually opposite sides. They're not just 6 generic wheels. They are sets of wheels. Tell by the direction of the middle thread. For consistency purposes, we don't want an odd one out. So, okay. And I've also done it in the kit as well. You actually get all 3 top cover options as well. So you get each helmet type, the Para, Scrim, and the Mark helmet. So there's not like the Foxhound where there's essentially 3 versions of it, but that will get reformed later. I'll come on to that in a bit. But yeah, you basically get everything in one pack to build any of the 3 variants that you want to match your troops on the ground. So yeah, going to get cracking on a little bit of build. Yeah, like I say, if you've got any questions, then do feel free. Okay. So just from last week, we're sorting out the Taliban that had come back from the painters. Stuffs laid out on them, so they were. And in fact, they'll be going for photography soon. I need to get them down for product photos for the web store. The easiest way I found to line this up is actually on the back part and making sure that the bottom part of the chassis is centered, basically lines up nicely. Stuff. Let's get the thing going. A bit too much. Clean that up. I don't think this is going to take me a couple of hours to make. It's it's quite intuitive, so yeah, it should be nice and quick. Okay, and there we go. First 3 pieces put together to make the main hull. Happy with that. That's looking rather spangly there. Right, I think next I'm actually going to get the wheels attached on. Going. Doing well and keeping safe, obviously. A little bit of hobby's always good fun. Enjoyed it the other week, so thought I'd come back for some more. Yeah, once again, if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask away. Yeah. Right, so now we've got one side of the wheels in place. Been a quiet week down at White Dragon Miniatures HQ. I had a chance to actually do any casting or anything because, if you didn't know, I actually do a lot of 3D printing commission work for quite a few companies, and so I've been a bit caught up sorting out that side of things for people. Is that I have to kind of sacrifice doing my own stuff for the benefit of others. I actually thought that obviously with the current situation going off, that things would get a bit quieter on that front and allow me to sit and do a bit more of my own thing. But no, quite the opposite. I seem to be as busy as ever doing all that. Okay, let's get this last wheel on, and I think we'll leave this to dry for a bit. Go. Okay. We have it. Sit and cure for a little bit. I'm not a big fan of this super glue bottle. Don't know if any of you ever used it. I like the Gorilla Glue brand, but I tell you what, it's not exactly a fine applicator, let's put it that way. So you can already start to see how big it is in comparison to the Foxhound. A bit of a beast. I think it'll obviously a bit more growth once the bar armor goes on and round it. Okay, so I think the next element that we're going to this will be, we'll do the back step. I might do that last actually. This is the thing with the kit, there's not actually that much to it. Oh, it's times like these I wish I brought my activator home. Gone are the days of holding parts together at that point. One of the fun things with 3D prints is you can actually glue them together with the UV resin. Instant. Yeah, thanks for popping by everyone and watching. Certainly excited to be showing this kit off. I know that it's been previewed a bit, but now we've actually got a physical cast of it, then can actually build it, because there's not really a lot I can do with a master print because it's so delicate. Okay. So these are actually the test fitting of the bar armor, which I've still got, but they're exactly what will be coming. They are, if I remember off the top of my head, 0.25 of a millimeter, so a quarter of a millimeter thick. They seem quite flexible, but once they're put on and glued in place, pretty darn rock solid. Okay. You're on. Right then. I think the next element will be maybe we'll get the exhaust attached on. It does also mean that we need to put the wire cutters. These are actually put on vehicles to stop any kind of, well, I forgot what they're called, not trip wires, but wires strung across the road to try and injure the top cover. They're actually formulated first in Northern Ireland because while out on patrol, there would sometimes be the risk of thin wires or fishing lines strung across the road at kind of head height, looking to again cause injury to any soldiers that were hanging out the top of the snatch Land Rovers. They also had a tendency to hang fishing hooks off bridges for when you were doing boat patrols. So pretty careful, and the style of it all kind of continued through into all future generations of vehicles. So yeah, so these are just designed to obviously take the wire up. This was normally not a super sharp edge, but yeah, enough to catch it and end up cutting it. Yeah, this one's got two of them. One sits on either side. Vehicle. I think I'm actually going to use the spout for this. That brush is horrendous. Okay. This actually joins by, there's a little cutout, and this actually lines up with the element just here, just the edge of the bonnet. Forever to come out now, it's just my luck. This is probably the element that takes super long now for the stream. Okay, that's a bit more. Note to self: bring sensor for the stream and some activator. My goodness. Wheel's not even glued properly yet. Okay. As you can see, it fits on there. Now, what you'll also be able to see is it's the start of the exhaust pipe as well. So the actual exhaust here will connect over and onto it, so it goes up and over quite nicely. That wheel is not having any of it. I'm going to redo the glue there. How's everyone's evening going? Okay, hopefully that holds a little better this time round. Right, I think we'll get the opposite fitted. Tell you what, I've got this little fly I probably can't pick it up on the camera, but there's a little fly mocking me. It's full on trolling me. Right, so this is the visit bar. Again, way too much. You're right there, Mark. Nice to see you, mate. Yeah, I know what you mean. My little one's gone to bed. She's been a rebel tonight. Well, once she's asleep, she's actually quite good, to be fair. There we go. So we now have both of those on. This front wheel's still being a pain. That's coming together. See that? Okay, we'll get this exhaust fitted. Put it onto the exhaust. We've got a bit test to that. Okay, there we go. Little dollops now. Cooking on gas. Learned how to tame this beast. Thought I did, and then I just did that. Should be okay. Alright then. One of the joyous things with resin is that it's oh. Note to self, get that up. Built a resin model. Yeah, thanks, mate. Super proud of this one. It's been a long time coming. In fact, I think the first previews of this came out about a year ago, so it's definitely been a long labour of love. Place for about 3 years. So used to just actually building these things with printer resin. Sad to say. Okay, so there we go. So the exhaust is now in place. I think if I did it again, I think what I would do is glue each part individually down the line, let it one cure. I think trying to line it all up in one go is quite tricky to get. Yeah. Yeah. So there's not actually that much more to do. We've got the steps and the top cover. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, how many parts is the kit? I should know this off by heart, shouldn't I, really? But I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, because you'll only use one of the top cover, and then the 2H brass. So not too shabby for a kit of this size. Yeah, super happy. Okay, so I think with that part done, we'll go over to the top cover, I think, and get those still not setting on this side. I need to bring home some of my BSI Bob Smith Industries super glue. That stuff is amazing. If you've never used it, it is it's really good. So if you're wondering what actually happened here, this one actually came off, unfortunately. So I've put it back, and then what I'm going to do is just 3D print one of these. It is there on the actual vehicle. It just came off in transit, unfortunately. Bit of a shame. So I'm going to get that one put back on to build this. Although to be fair, once the bar armor's on, I don't think you'd need or know. But yeah, so these little extension parts, obviously in real life they are a lot smaller, but again, when you come in to create miniatures, it's a totally different ball game. You know, things have to be scaled. Doesn't work right. Or fitted. Yeah, telling me a little hit. Okay, so there's the 50 count. Bit on there. I keep knocking it. But the little dude, when he goes in, he's actually holding the firing controls in his hand already. So once he's in and fitted, he'll quite tasty like that. We do have the little the hatch cover that can go in. Here he is, Yao Dunny. The meme maestro. Always have to just bear in mind, build right next to my chest. We all know what it's like when you're building a kit up close. You know, you just want to bring it right up to your face. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like the paras, although I was never a para. I do like the para helmet. Go. This is coming together quite nicely now. Lovely. I honestly thought that this would take a bit longer than this to build. Part of me is slightly disappointed. It means I've got to find some other things to do. I might actually have to do painting. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't like painting. Of all the hobby elements, it is the worst part for me. I just, any reason I can find to not paint, yeah. Building kits, love it. Playing games, love it. Writing army lists, love it. In fact, one of the most relaxing things I like to do is to clean mould lines, especially off plastic models. Super easy, love it. But painting, yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to put the steps on last because, yeah, I just think they'll be to do. I think I'll knock them off otherwise. Right, let's get a little bit of bar armor. I think what I'm actually going to do for the bar armor is put some super glue out on the side. Yeah, we'll whack it in this and then dab it on. Out. Saves me faffing about with this silly bottle. Little note to everyone watching: do not buy this bottle. It is horrendous. Right, let me show you a little tip. One of the best things about having a 3D printer with the supports, these things, the actual supports, they are fantastic for applying glue. Your nice small little connectors. What we're going to do is taz a little bit of glue on these. Now the actual bar armor does line up with the chassis quite nicely. It was designed in 3D. Tolerances are nice. Part, so we'll get that bit wrapped on there. Okay. Hey there, Granvo. Nice for you to join us. Right, so it actually, just before the corner fold, the 45-degree fold, there is a bar available there, and that's where the back side of this all fits into. And then they basically just, well, line up all the way down. In there. Oomph. Okay. Yeah, you'll just see once it's all folded out and around, that's basically it. And this is what I mean when I say that once it's glued in place, you know, this thing will be strong hit there. Obviously this bit will flex a little because but that's how this beast is gonna look. So this is the first time even I'm seeing this thing in a physical form put together, and all I've ever done before is kind of held it together with some test fittings, you know, not glued, just held with my hand together. And very nice fit. Same again on this side. Dab in some glue. So there's also, if I don't know if you can actually tell on the stream, there's some small tabs that were put on the front, back. So when these connect together, there's a nice little part to be able to put the glue on, just to seal them together. I would paint the hull, so I'd build it up to this point, bar putting this bar armor on, and then look at. And in fact, I've skewed that slightly. Let's move. Yeah, and then get it painted, then get the bar armor on. The only elements that you would have to paint separately from the main hull are the cameras and the wind mirrors. I'm just building this complete now because I've never seen it actually built, so I'm a bit excited. And this is the kind of test casting from the caster to ensure that everything's okay. So say that it's spare, but it's one to have a little play around with, I think. So yeah, thought I would come on stream and build it for you all. Let you see what's coming. I'm hoping to have it, well, obviously available sooner than later, but I've put the order in with the caster so that it can start its production journey. That. There we go. Blue. My first time working with etch brass, interestingly enough. There we go. What a beast. Yeah, so I think we just get a little bit of super glue on those tabs. Folded underneath. This out a little bit. Activator would be very, very beneficial with this. So there's there's a lot going on in the company at the minute. The first 12 IDF troops have been getting painted up. If you're part of the Courage in Contact Facebook group, you've probably seen a preview of one painted. Pardon me. And well, if you follow the Courage in Contact stuff, you know I like to ensure that the miniature and paint job quality is well up there. Taliban are actually painted by a chap called Matthew Kennedy, who is a Slayer sword winner. Won the Slayer sword with a Slam Mage priest at Games Workshop. Very, very cool. Really nice model. In fact, you could probably Google it and find it. A very nice paint job. So yeah, he kindly paints the Taliban. Does an absolutely sterling job on them. We're still not glued. I hate this glue. I am never using this again. It's letting me down. Okay. There we go. The power armor. I don't think the front clip being missing is probably aiding me on this one. So, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Quite a few watchers now. Happy with that. Welcome everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alan Crooks, and I am the owner. There's only me in the company, so well, if you know someone else in the company, then I'll be a bit worried. But yeah, just having a little chill out for the evening, building the new Mastiff kit, which just came in. Yeah, if you've got any questions, comments, or anything, I'll even take criticism. Hey, I can deal with it. Then feel free. Yeah, I think I need my activator for that side. There we go. Yeah, so we've got the IDF coming up. Sorry, I keep getting pulled away and distracted. So much like the other factions, they're going to be released as a big wave. There will be 24 models released in one go. So yeah, they're going to be pretty damn cool coming out. I'm really looking forward to those. I'm not bringing politics into things, but I'm a big fan of the IDF. Say what you will, otherwise, but as I say, not getting politics involved. I think they have cool equipment. Huge fan of the Makarva tank. Design, the whole ethos behind the tank is just absolutely amazing. That they look to protect the crew. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, just love the whole design choices around that tank. Best tank in the world for me. Yeah, so super stoked on doing them and getting them out. Yeah, you're right, Granville. Yes, there is news. The actual models for painting went to the paint today, so super happy. They're going to be getting on with those. So there'll be the snipers, grenade machine gun, and the HMG. They've all gone to the painters to get done. And once they're then done and back, it's photography and get them going for production. I don't know if you saw the last stream I did, but I was explaining about the heads, how the head system works, because the models are being modified a little bit. Well, all models going forward from these British snipers will have separate heads. Now, it's not separate heads as in you can put them on whichever model you want. There's a fitted head for each model, but you will get all three helmet options within a pack. I highlighted it earlier why that's going to be happening. There's just basically a lot of duplication in production, keeping track of stock, because you've then got 3 different SKUs to keep track of per pack. So like for the British, currently sit at the platoon, so that's 21 packs. You've then got the quad bikes, that's 24 packs. You then got the foxhounds, so now you're up to 27 packs, whereas in theory there's actually only 9 products there. So yeah, it's working on that system going forward. So the snipers will be a single pack, but you will get all 3 different helmet types within that pack. So there's then no cross confusion in the packaging either. Not that I mispack things, I have a bit of due diligence in there, but yeah, it's just a whole number of things. It just makes more sense going forward. So yeah, all the releases going forward now, so the British snipers, grenade machine gun, HMG, they all have separate heads, and all the IDF, they're already built that way. So again, they've got 3 different head options with them. But what I will be doing is working on the British going backwards. So the first 7 packs is I'll be re-engineering those, and I'm actually going to be doing it on stream. I might do some if it's in place next week to do. I might do some next week on the stream and go on the computer. Bit of a giggle. Re-engineering some of the models. I don't sculpt the models, I'll just make that clear. They're sculpted by a very talented chap called Rob McFarlane, who used to work at Games Workshop. He used to work in the Forge World department, so he is a miniature sculptor. It's one of the reasons why I think the old Courage in Contact models look just so good, because he understands miniatures. I'm ex-military and understand kind of posing and fire positions of the models, and Rob has his input as to whether a pose will work, because it's quite funny. A lot of the really kind of dynamic poses generally don't work in a freeze frame situation. The idea of them might be cool, but there's not many models that pull off a really dynamic pose very well. So yeah, it's a balancing act really of what is a firing position, or kind of an actiony pose, to what just starts to look a little bit silly. And I think it strikes the balance quite nicely. Rob reels me in at times when I get some ideas, but yeah, overall it's a good system. There's a good bit of back and forth. Yeah, just super happy with all the work that he puts into it and gets done. It's a truly cracking range. Yeah, so got the little British snipers. So these again, test prints. I normally have all test prints out and about, playing about. So yeah, I was super happy with. I tried this earlier with the model holding the wheels onto the front end, and I'm super happy with the scale. The scale of this is 156, as are the model. So yeah, even with the base, the height is pretty spot on, because the height of the bonnet sits just above head of person. But yeah, so super happy with the. Probably need to line it up a bit more. You know, it sits. There's about an extra head above him, and that's even with the base. So yeah, that's, to me, that's spot on. The overall scaling of that. Yeah, so you'll see there with the bar armor, like that is good. Super happy with that. And now the cameras can look to go in. I always get these up which way round they go. On. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, is with this, if you know, actually building the kit to paint, probably sit and say leave the cameras off, because once they are once they're on, you can't get the bar armor over them. The slot just tolerances are just too tight. Some problems. So Granville, just on the snipers as well. I don't know what you know of the British Army composition, but within an infantry battalion, they actually form part of D Company, which is the support elements, and that's also where the heavy machine guns and grenade machine guns normally are comprised in as well. It is also where the battalion level javelin are deployed as well, which obviously interesting enough to complete D Company, we'll be doing javelins. So there are some javelin teams planned as well to complete D Company. Yeah, just rounding the range out quite nicely. I think there's a good core to the British range now, and it's just adding those support elements to it. So yeah, looking at the D Company and getting them in place, and then looking at elements that support, or sorry, I say that support a platoon, or a platoon supports out in the field. So going to be doing some EOD. Really looking forward to those. So obviously Guy in the bomb suit. Going to do the little. I've got the names of them. They're on my my little production list, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But the little detonation robot, and is there a controller for it? I'm just trying to think what there is for it now. But yeah, so there's those. Going to look at doing medics. Yeah, they're other packs. I Part of me's in two minds with medics. There is actually a medic in the platoon. He's the guy running forward with the day sack on. So there's the guy the radio operator, which the aerial attaches to. He's got a little hole in it for the aerial to attach to, and the other one in the Pack 7 that's running forward is actually the platoon medic. So yeah, there is a platoon level medic, but actual kind of Royal Medical Corps level medic. I forgot what they call them now. I can't remember what they call them now. But yeah, there's not a set of those, and part of me, I don't know if there will be enough to do a set of medics. Like, would you really want 4 medics or 4 medical kind of personnel? I mean, I suppose you could do a casualty or something like that, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's is that a bit too much, doing a casualty? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it all goes. I mean, all of this is kind of keep going, play it by ear, and I say have fun, but yeah, just keep being creative. But yeah, Valiant guys, yeah, they'll be coming out. They won't be in the EOD kit because that will focus more upon the Royal Logistics aspect of it. Because obviously a platoon or more would support in securing the area for the EOD guys to carry out their job. So it creates some cool little scenarios to go forward with there. Also planning some search dogs as well, all-armed search teams. So some nice little cocker spaniels and dog handlers. Yeah, as I say, there's loads of stuff planned going forward. It's just kind of finding the time to do it and have it done. Because bear in mind, there is only me. Need some effect. Could just peel under there now. There we go. Right, we'll just get this bit. Firearm is super easy. I think I need some more glue. That'll work. Yeah, also going to be doing some Taliban, well, I say not Taliban, but Afghan civilians as well. So I'm going to look to expand those packs over time to give a good variety. Well, and also we'll be doing the smaller version of the Mastiff. Have totally escaped the name of me now. It's not the Ridgeback, that's the kind of engineering vehicle. They're all named after dogs. It'll come to me in a bit. Name of it. You'll probably remind me, Granville. Okay, let's get these wing mirrors on. Yeah, I think you'll see how easy and straightforward this kit is to put together. Pretty grand results. As I say, super happy with how this kit's come about. Been a long road, but very well worthwhile one. So again, you'll see, because this has all been designed digitally, you know, the wind mirrors just fit that perfectly. Just goes together like a little. I'd say that the bar armor's, you know, a little bit fiddly, but that's just because you try to manipulate you know, a sheet of. Overall, you know, there we go. That's basically the kit put together. You know, just the top gunner, and obviously the gunner's not glued into place. That is pretty sweet. In fact, if I just take the gunner off, I'll be able to just side. But there we go. Sorry, yeah, no, you've jogged my memory now, Grambo. No, yeah, the Wolfhound is the engineering version with the still 6 wheels, but the back end of it is taken away for open top. It is the Ridgeback. That's the small four-wheeled version. Cuts off here. So we'll be doing that again. It just depends how, you know, how well received this kit is, which hopefully is very well received. There's been a lot of work go into it. What I've come to realise with streaming on Facebook, there isn't actually a good way of chat. Literally have to watch. So it's a bit weird, like watching myself play back a few minutes later, because there is quite a delay. It also takes quite a while to navigate through to the streaming element of it. Okay. So yeah, that is now this camera down. Okay. Goes together, builds, and as I am with the results. Definitely a couple of these rolling along with some foxhounds. Fantastic. Roll. This guy looks so cool. Right, let's get the scrim guy in so we've got all the same guys together. Got the dismounts. Covering fire. I'm just playing toy soldiers, aren't I? Fantastic. Yeah, over the moon about that. I cannot wait for that all to come together now. So I've launch him. Get when you don't glue things in place. So this kit has been ordered from the casters. The casting's getting done by a fantastic company called CMA Creative Solutions. Heard of them, and you've seen their stuff, you will know the quality is absolutely top notch. And the etch brass has been ordered as well, so should be about 4 weeks. I think it should all come together. So what I'm gonna look to do, pre-order for the kit. I'll probably open that up maybe 2 weeks before it's due to be released, to give a window. And because it's quite a costly kit, this is the etch brass actually costs not a drastic amount, but more than you may think. So pricing wise, at retail, it's gonna have to end up being more than I'd kind of want it to be, but at the same time, taking into account production costs and have to make some kind of money. It'll be that. But what I think I'm going to do is during that 2-week pre-order window is do it at a pre-order price of £45. So yeah, obviously anyone getting on board at that point can. So super happy with that. Yeah, so it'll be about 4 weeks until this girl is out in the wild. I think I'll get some photos of this after the stream's finished. Get some photos together. Show this off. Get it up on the old. Well, we'll get it on the Origin contact group, and we'll also share it over onto the modern page as well. I'm sure it will turn a few heads there. Right, I think overall that's been a good little stream. I think I'm going to start to wind down there for the evening, I think. And yeah, it's certainly been good. Hope you're happy with how this ends up all looking. Pretty darn. Yeah, thank you very much for coming along and watching. Be back on next week. Like I say, might be working on the computer, so you can come and see a little bit of the. It's not sculpting side of things. I'm not going to say that because Rob does the sculpting element. We'll call it some miniature modifications to his fantastic work. Done, sorted. And Benjamin just joins us here. He'll be glad to see this. In fact, we'll do one last little show off for him. You might want to rewind, Ben, and watch the build process of this, because this is the first time I've built one. It's the first time this model has been pretty happy with it, is one way to put it. Tell you what, this wheel has been the bane of my life the whole stream. Nope. Looks spot on. Yeah, no, cheers, Granville, for popping by and staying. Yeah, this, and I'm sure that we'll be getting the stuff that you've mentioned made. Hi there, Daniel. You alright? Yeah, it's finally here in physical form. Although it's been in physical form for about a year, sat on the side of my desk. But this is the production resin vehicle now. So a test cast was sent over to me from the casters, and so build it tonight. So yeah, happy with how stunning this kit's come. I really think the bar armor makes the vehicle. Just, you couldn't have the Mastiff without the bar armor. It would look so out of place. Yeah. Hi there, Stephen. Thanks for popping along. Jeez, it seems that I was gonna shut the stream down, and everyone's pouring in now. So yeah, you've come at the latter stage of the stream where the Mastiff is now fully built. So I'll take him out because he'll just fall. There's all the top. Get all the different helmet options. What platoon you've brought. Yeah, I mean, well, the bar armor will be, I say quite easy. It's just all one color. To be fair, you may just want to do some patch shading, to give it of depth, but a bit of variety. Some rust patches, would always be good with it. The one big thing with the kit, which I said earlier in the stream, is that you'd be looking to build the vehicle. I mean, some people will leave the tyres off to paint separately and attach them later. But obviously painting the model before applying the bar armour, and then got to remember to leave the camera elements off the sides because the bar armour doesn't fit over those. Yeah, other than that, I mean, it's been an absolute joy to build. I've just been building this through the stream, and spot on. Looks at come out. Yeah, I'm no pro modeler. I just slap some glue on it and away we go. So yeah, you can see it. The kind of size and compared to a Foxhound. Caused me no end of dramas tonight. yeah, so good size, bigger. Yeah, I think what I'll end up doing, because there's about a month till it's released now. The order's been placed with the caster, so yeah, there's about a month lead time, and I've also ordered all the etch brass for the kits as well. And again, they've got about a month lead time because of COVID-19. So yeah, it'll be released in pretty much a month, which is good because it gives me time. I'm getting a couple more vehicles sent over in the meantime to go over to the painter to get them up and done for the and then yeah, should be hitting the shops from them. So I'm hoping to have. I've got to speak to the painter who's doing the British snipers and the other sport elements as to a turnaround on those, because I have a bit of a rule when it comes to releasing things on the web store now, is that I'll only be showing off painted models. I won't be putting up resin or renders of models anymore. So it just means then that obviously I've got to be getting stuff back from the painters photoed. Then I've got to do all the post photo elements to it to give it, the pure white background and so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of work to be done there. But all the production side of the actual figures I do. So I do all the casting of all the infantry. The bigger elements like the Foxhound hull is outsourced to CMA. So yeah, so the actual snipers, grenade machine gun and HMG, I will be casting those. So that's not a big problem. The time will come with getting the models back from the painter. That will dictate when they'll be getting released. I may even have a stock, quite a reasonable, stock of those models ready for release, and that will be surging forward. Yeah. In fact, I don't know if any of you guys have got one of these little pin badges yet. I pop them into orders every now and then. I plan to do a couple more actually. I want to do a Taliban one. But part of me is wonders whether it would get flagged up a bit. Are you trying to then support the Taliban? But I'll also be getting one made for the IDF for their release, and anyone that buys the set of the models will get one. Hey Stephen, the additional models are for the British or? All right, there's a bit of delay. Yeah, Joshua, that's a really good solid method. I saw your photos up on the group. Yeah, I mean Zandri dust is fantastic. That's what these little dudes are. Yeah, Zandri dust is an absolutely fantastic for the British. Yeah, Stephen. Yeah, so it's stuff that's been shown off. So what's directly in the pipeline is D Company snipers. Basically, we're going on to some D Company elements. Let me grab these guys down. Where's the other ones? Another. So yeah, we're basically hitting. These have been shown off in the. And then we have I have to be careful because these things aren't actually glued fully together. We have the HMG has him, and is that his loader? No, it's the other dude. So yeah, super happy with those. Now that we have is, again, let's see if I can find him. Is right behind the webcam. Machine gun. So yeah. But what I was saying earlier is that the planned future packs is to finish off D Company with javelins, and that's then pretty much D Company rounded out. I'm not going to be doing mortars, and the reason for that is I generally do elements that go out into the field and are not located at forward operating bases or main supply bases, which generally is where the mortars would be operating from and supporting the troops on the ground. They just wouldn't feature on a battlefield, to be fair, so that there's not that much justification for making them. I mean, if there's a surge in demand of people demanding, a mortar team, then I can look at it down the line. But it's nothing that's on my radar at the minute. But there's also some new Taliban models. What we were playing with last week, so I actually got the fully painted the models for photography. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Stephen. Yeah, that's very kind words. A lot of effort goes into the models. I strive to pull out all stops with them. Plastic do the actual models. This is the thing with these cameras, right? Getting the autofocus going. But let me swap to show them off. I think this a little bit better lit. So yeah, so Dushka Gunner with his loader. And then some of the other pack that's coming out for the Taliban is an IED team. So what we have is a guy digging with his spade, getting ready, and then the actual IED ready to be planted. Now this was actually designed on an actual IED that was recovered. So yeah, really like that. So these will be trying to work together to take out the new Mastiff. And then the other two in the pack are a Dicker with his camcorder ready for a bit of Taliban propaganda, and a guy with a cell phone ready to detonate the IED from afar. He's looking for the vehicle to cross into the Killzone. So yeah, really happy with how that's all come together. So yeah, there's just loads going on. I mean, for the IDF, there's going to be 24 models at release for them, all separate poses. That does include female models because they serve as regulars in the IDF. And then shortly after will be followed up with the Macarthur 4 with the optional trophy active defence system. And I've then also got the Macarthur Mark III, Mark II and Mark 1. So over a period of time I'll look to get those tanks released going backwards. And I've also got the Namer APZ as well. Yeah, Joshua, there are the models on foot, which are essentially the same models as the dismounts, but with patrol sacks. They're been put back because of some modifications that are going to be going onto the models going forward. One of the things I was explaining earlier was about how the models will be coming with separate heads. So at the minute, there's currently each model has 3 variants of it. Guy with the scrim, you then got the Mark 6 helmet and the para helmet. So what's happening from the snipers forward is that the heads will be separate. I don't know if I've got the models over here still. Let me grab an IDF because I can show you. Knowing my luck, I picked the models that the heads don't fit on. But it will give you an idea at least. So basically, this is what you'll essentially get is a model and then a head. Which, yeah, as I said, I probably pulled the heads over that don't fit the model. Oh, there we go. That one does. So it's not like the heads can just be swapped out between models. They are purpose for each model, but you will get the 3 different helmet variants for each model. So in a standard pack of 4 models, you'll get 12 heads, and that'll enable you to build them in a mixture of how you want the platoon to kind of look. Not so much with the British, because that's generally SOPs of their equipment. Obviously paras would all have the para helmet. There may be some scrims in there, but not really. People want kind of a bit of consistency. But the IDF, if you have a look at photos of the IDF, they'll have different helmet coverings, and so it really becomes key into that. Yeah. So the IDF is where this system originated from, and then it was worked on to the new British releases, but then it's going to be going on to the British going backwards. So the 7 packs of the platoon that are released already, I'll be going back and reworking them to take the heads off and having it so that the packs will come with the body and then the 3 heads for the body, which also then ties in to the foot patrol version, because there'll be then 2 bodies with 3 heads, if that makes sense, because they'll both packs of both dismounts and foot patrol will use the same head fitting, so it all works together. So when I'm reworking the dismounts to take the heads off, I'll also be reworking the patrol foot patrol versions to take the heads off those as well. And once that's all done, then the foot patrol will get released alongside them. It's just to bring the foot patrol out now would just create a kind of duplication of work for something that needs to happen anyway. So I'm just tying it all up together. So yeah, I know they've been a while in the kind of making, but they are still there. They're still happening, and just going to be going back. There's also some modifications that want to do. I have a very proprietary production method for these models that I've developed for a couple of years, and there's been some lessons that have been brought in on its production, which is why with the IDF some of the weapons are taken off. It's to help reduce backfilling. Now backfilling is like on this model where the weapon is close in his arms. Down here, the area between the weapon and his body gets filled in, and that's called backfilling. So by removing the weapon, it then means that there can be the detail, in that back area is needed, and there's not as much backfill needed from it. So yeah, there's quite a few kind of technical elements within all of this to get things to work. But once it's all done, it's then all done. The Taliban won't be having the kind of multiple heads, just because of the way the models are. Some like this guy has a kind of neck handkerchief, a shmag around his neck, whereas this guy doesn't. And to be able to swap the heads over, it would be very kind of difficult to pull those off with the Taliban. So yeah, they'll probably remain as they are. So yeah, we'll just see. But yeah, there will be more vehicles coming. As I say, we're going to be doing I keep dropping that for some. There will be the Ridgeback version of this coming as well. So the four-wheeled variant. Yeah, and that's basically where we're kind of going with it all. Okay, well I think I'm going to start to wrap it up there. Unless you've got any last minute burning questions. I do thank you for your kind comments, and that you're happy with all the stuff you've got and the stuff that's coming. Means a lot to me, it really does. And yeah, I just hope that keep the stuff coming. Oh, okay. So got comments over on YouTube. This is also streaming out over on YouTube. When will the 15mm tank and mechs be back in stock? Okay, so the tanks are being reworked. I'm actually going to take them down from the web store. I wasn't too happy with the kind of detail level. I thought some of the detail on the tanks was quite shallow or quite soft. So they're getting reworked. They're not getting like redesigned, as in the sense of that they're just not going to look like the tanks that they're designed to be at the minute. But they'll just be better miniatures. Let's just kind of put it that way. In fact, the Aegis infantry fighting vehicle, which was actually never released, but it was shown off. The rework for that has come back through, and it looks really good. I'm really, really happy with the modifications to make it a better miniature. So on that side of that, Well, it's funny that you should say that, Duffy. If you drop me an email, if you just go onto like the website and drop me an email, I'll let you know. I do have some stock of things. So yeah, just drop me an email if there's some things there. But a lot of the main tanks are out of stock. But on the mechs, the Fiddler mech is back in stock because it's all shifting over to a new production method that I have. So it's getting that done. So the Fiddler mech has moved over to the new production method, and so has the Jackal. But the Proteus mechs and the Strix haven't yet. And again, I'm debating on whether I want to do any reworking on those models. And then, like, again, nothing drastic, it's not like they're going to be totally different models, but there's just some elements that over the last, I think those models are like 5 years old now, which may not, sound long, and it's not long in the scheme of things, unless you're Games Workshop, which is like 3 minutes later it's too old. There's just some things, both from a production point of view and a miniature point of view, that I may rework, and then it can then go into the new production method there as well, which will be nice to have and do. There are also you're gonna laugh, but a number of new mechs. There's actually 4 mechs that haven't been released yet, and they're quite big. So yeah, looking forward to getting those out and about and shown off. It's all just a lot of this in the business comes down to time. There's just me. There's not like an army of people behind me that I kind of boss around. There's just me, and I have to cover every angle. Yeah. There's still 15mm scale. So yeah, all the sci-fi stuff is 15mm. There's only a couple of things that we redid, well, not even redid, but because they're still 15mm, but we did some 28mm Marines and Talos, which again are going on the web store soon. They were actually part of a Kickstarter. That's all been fulfilled now, which was great, and in fact going to do an episode on Shattered Void, which, well, these are some of the wonderful spaceships here. Cool little space dogfighting game. I'll do an episode on all of that, I think. Yeah, so basically everything there is then 15mm. But yeah, there's 4 mechs of a variety of scales. In fact, next week, when I'm looking to be working on the computer doing some bits, I may pull them up, and you can have a little look at what's planned. Yeah. There's always this misconception with the Fiddler mech, because the large variant that's on my desk just over here, it's actual scale of when it was released was 1/35 scale, but it does look pretty kick-ass as a 28mm mech. It's one that I'm looking to re-release, but I mentioned it in the stream 2 weeks ago, I think. There's an issue with the master parts. They were printed some time ago. It must be 6 or 7 years ago when that was printed, and some of the parts of the prints have delaminated, so the layers have started to split. So I need to have a look whether they're salvageable, and can patch them up and reuse them, or whether I have to look at reprinting those parts. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to do because that's the only fiddler mech I've got. Oh, nice, Duffy. Have you got the full size fiddler mech then? This is it. So remember, it's the top camera. These weapons are pinned in. You know, it's an absolute behemoth. Look great. Yeah, it's got to be done. I think if we release it, well, which I do want to do, I'll end up looking at having a version of this painted up in British colours. I think that would be pretty darn sweet. Yeah, really, really sweet. And then just go on a romper stomp. But yeah, it's a monstrous kit. Yeah, this is the only one that I have in the company now. I've only ever known of one that's been for sale, you know, outside of White Dragon Miniatures selling it. Although back then I was actually known as Black Dragon Castings. The origins of the company are that I actually used to cast other people's miniatures for them, and just wanted to do my own things, and so yeah, I mean, the large one hasn't been available for years now. Must be 5 or 6 years. Yeah, it's. I think if I'm remembering off the top of my head, that was £110 kit. Pretty big, pretty impressive. Uh, Fantastic. I think there's 103 parts in the kit. Pretty cool. Yeah. Right, I think I'm going to start to wind down the stream now. But no, again, thank you one and all for coming along. Please do stay safe during these. I look to make this a weekly thing. I'll either be working here at the desk or on my computer doing something to do with kind of bringing the miniatures forth. If I'm at my computer, it will generally be preparing, you know, models. May even sit and do some planning, do some research. You know, you can just sit, have a look at reference photos, and just, you know, give your input into what you'd like to see. I'm always happy to hear of, you know, ideas or things that you'd like to see. No, Duffy, I don't design the miniatures myself. While I have input in like the design process, I have concept artists do, well, for the sci-fi stuff. There's concepts that get done first, and then they'll go to get 3D modelled. I do none of that side of it. I'm not an artistic person in that way. But what I do is prepare the models for print, print them, clean them up, do all the production, and, you know, do all that aspect of it. But a lot of the popular software that is used is ZBrush, is a very popular one. SolidWorks is pretty popular, and also what was the other one? There's a fantastic little application called Moi 3D, Moment of Inspiration. So that they're worth a good look out, to be fair. Yeah, no, thanks Ben for popping along. It's nice to have you. You know, yeah. As I was saying a little bit earlier, yeah, pop along and feed in your input. You know, let me know what you'd like to see. You know, for Courage and Contact, is there any forces that you know you'd be interested in seeing down the line? I'm always happy to, you know, kind of hear what ideas you've got. Courage and Contact is all about the kind of grunts. It's not special forces. It is more just nation armies rather than the kind of spec ops side of things. But yeah, if there's any armies of the world that you fancy seeing, yeah, just drop me a message. Always happy to hear and see you know what people's thoughts are, and it may then end up you know coming into fruition. So yeah, but no, thank you for joining me. As always, if you're following elsewhere on this stream, you know, please do join us on Facebook. If you're interested in, you know, Courage and Contact, there is the Courage and Contact Modern Warfare group, which is linked off the White Dragon Miniatures page. I do put up little sneak peeks and, you know, little previews of stuff before it kind of goes to the general masses. So I think at the minute there's the Israeli Defence Force painted model shown off. Can't wait to get all those models up and there's Jeffers. Samurai with guns. In fact, we should go one stage further than that, and we should do the Samurai Pizza Cats. If you remember that, jeez. I think I only ever remember watching like one episode of it before I could never ever find again. Haha, the Ruskies. Well, yes, I was actually discussing those a little bit earlier today, actually. So yeah, that could be one. It's one of those things where, you know, do you go for the more kind of vague elements within the ranges, or do you go for the more crowded markets? Obviously, Americans and Russians are probably the two most prominent factions, you know, armies that people do, and it's like, well, do we join the foray and you know, get in there and make some Courage and Contact, Americans and Russians, or do we kind of, you know, keep pushing around the periphery a bit? And, you know, some of the ones that you know, like to look to explore is Polish army. They're pretty cool. The Germans, and even like the you know, the Swedes, that kind of thing. It's a bit of a balancing act, you know. You can either go for the mass market, but it's also the crowded market. We'll see, but this is where, you know, people's input kind of comes in from it, and, you know, where there's demand, there's a market. So yeah, we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, tune in next week, 8:30, and yeah, we'll see what we're going to do. I'll plan it out before, but it may be on the PC. We may be doing some chopping off of some heads, which will be quite entertaining, and again, just chilling out, chatting. Got questions, fire away, and yeah, been good. But no, thank you very much, and I will catch up with you all in the near future, and hopefully see you next week. All right, take it easy.